but who knows? I may have to go mess with the extension.
Not here.
Wow.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
This is just wild, you guys. I had fully resigned myself to having to start over on this Grail. I thought these files were gone 1000%. There's the Might Aura. But they're right here the whole time. Wow. The tech fiasco. The Man vs. Stream software was crashing Windows 11, basically. And what I'm actually gonna do is run it. Let's see if we can have MVS software and stuff just running. Yeah, I'm gonna make a backup right now. And let's get a couple wheels. I'm just gonna try and like load the computer up again with some of the stuff. Okay. Let me just kind of like put these wheels over here. And I'm just gonna have a bunch of these running. Oh. Okay, so now we have Slap Chop just running off on the side. Oh, it's actually annoying because it keeps removing my cursor though. Dislike. Okay. Maybe not Slap Chop. Let's just put that over there.
Moo!
Jesse T. Rose with 5 gifted subs. There's a setting for the mouse, but it's still kind of janky.
This monastery with evil and corruption.
Add. No. I need to do a capture of it. Perfect. Now let's just like put that down there. Okay. Now we can just run Dogspacito, but again the cursor is hiding. I just want to, you know, see if we can run it all at the same time and see if the computer will freeze up at any point or not. Yeah, I know you can't see the wheels. This. Rare Shaco. Where's my item counter? Oh yeah, let me... Sorry, we deleted everything, so we gotta bring it all back. Add... This is gonna be item counter. And... Streaming tools. Okay. Oops. What is this? Let's do this. Just bring it to that. And then make that bigger. Okay. What happened with Shockwave Druid part hell? Oh yeah, we gotta do that. Alright, the cursor has disappeared again. So... I don't know why it did. It shouldn't. That's so weird. Diablo 2 Hell 2 mod? Which mod is this? I haven't heard of that one. Have I played D4 closed beta? Even if I had, I don't think I'd be allowed to say so, right? It's for D1? Oh, okay. D1 is a beautiful game. Best duo for Ubers? I mean, yeah, two Smiters probably, right? Just not having a character who can teleport around to like get you through the small Ubers faster can be helpful. So. Hold on. This is... Chat highlights? What is this? I want my chat to be better. Best solo build for Terrazone farming? I mean, Blizzsource was doing pretty well with that Sunder Charm. Yeah, I have no thoughts or opinions on Diablo 4's beta. But I will say it does seem confusing just reading what other people are saying is very confusing to me. Half the people are like, this is just like Diablo 2. The other, not half. It's like a fourth of people are like, this is so much like D2. And then a fourth of people are like, this is like Diablo Immortal. And then another fourth of people are like, this is straight up copying Diablo 3. It's Diablo 3.2. And then the other people are like, this is nothing like Diablo 3. And then many people are like, it reminds me of Diablo 1.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
And then some people are like, this is Lost Ark. And other people are like, this is nothing like Lost Ark. Like, nobody knows what it reminds them of. It's like Diablo 4. Yeah, and maybe it's kind of got its own game, own style enough going on. I don't know. So I have no opinions or thoughts on it. But I just find it curious. Because from a reading standpoint of it, if you're just reading what people are saying, leaking, whatever, it gives you no clarification whatsoever. After all is said and done, you're just like, so what is it? What is it like? Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Some people are having a blast with it. Other people are saying it's just a general boring grind. Beats me. What class would you play if you could play? I always wanted to start with the rogue. I always thought rogue was cool. But maybe it's best to just go for like sorceress or wizard or whatever they have. Spellcasters are always OP. All I've heard about D4 is the combat is fluid, which I expected that to be the case. You know, I mean, even D3's combat is fluid. Even if I don't think the combat is amazingly fun, it is still well built. So, you know, no matter what, I expected the game to be well built from a technical standpoint. The question just remains, will it be fun? Will the systems be fun? Is it going to be too generic? Are things going to be handed to you too easily? You know, those are always the concerns that I have with any game that comes out. Because like I've said before, a lot of games nowadays, it feels like they really spoon feed you, you know? That's just an overall theme. What's my gear at the moment? Does the gear thing not work? Afraid D4 will be more in the Diablo Immortal direction than D2. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. Son of a gun. I don't know how to make that thing work. I thought I had it working with Diablo.run. Do I need to run it as admin, maybe? Maybe this will work. Give it a minute and then we'll see. Thank you, Rag. And thank you again to Jesse T. Rhodes for those 5 gifted subs. It wasn't working for Jim's stream either. 2.5 must have broken it. Actually makes sense. Unless it's working for like Bender, Indrik, those guys. Now it shows me with the buckler and a short staff. Alright, well I guess something changed.
Wow, 9 months. Our baby will be delivered soon. Should
Yay.
we name her Holy? Holy Grail LL Mama.
Aww, little baby Holy Grail. Would I bother with the physical thunder? No, this character does magic damage.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Yeah, I would, I don't know. Like I say, I've had my hopes of D4 for a while. And what I would like it to be, and again, I don't want it to be just a copy of D2, you know, I do want it to have its own style for sure. But within that, I definitely have hopes of challenge, difficulty, figuring stuff out, and just getting away from the general way that ARPGs and a lot of games have gone. Which is just into the more casual play, more guided play, and everything looking the same. You know, that's just been my main complaint.
I had to wipe my hard drive and lost all my single player stuff once before. Just a level 11 summoner rip.
Oof. Poor summoner.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Poor summoner. Do people still buy cold facets? Yeah. Played at an airport. I mean, my favorite thing with, you know, D2 LED was just playing on the airplane. I love doing that. Load it up and then just level up a character. 38% chances. The Dippers! Thank you for the prime.
I can't carry anymore.
And I'll also say one thing I really dislike, and that comes in D3 as well, is Salvage. There's a little dual leech ring, but not amazing.
This monastery reeks with
I just I just dislike picking up every single thing that drops to take it home to salvage it. It just feels like such boring added gameplay for no purpose whatsoever, except just to like slightly increase the time and make you feel like you're kind of doing something. But it does make you look at items before salvaging. Really though? Because I'm pretty sure I stopped looking at all items and would just salvage it all eventually, because you just knew none of that. You knew what you were looking for. So you're either salvaging everything except sets and uniques, or you're salvaging even all of those things because you're just looking for some primal or whatever thing, you know. Yeah, like even when I played D3, and I didn't play a ton of D3, maybe 80, 90 hours, but by the end of it, I remember I wasn't even looking at a majority of the stuff I was salvaging. So it's like, I don't know. I think that's really a big piece of like the game where it's like a really unfun thing that's been added to different games, and people are saying that is in D4, some like salvaging stuff. But yeah, I'm just speaking on D3. I'm not speaking on D4. I just really dislike the salvage mechanic, and then it's also been in other games. And any game there's been a salvage mechanic, I don't think I've ever enjoyed the salvage mechanic, because there's nothing fun to me about just picking up every single thing until your inventory is just jammed full of trash, and then going to the blacksmith or whoever and just salvaging all of it. It really feels like a boring mechanic. I don't think it depends on what you get from crafting. I think crafting can still be an amazing thing or a garbage thing. A crafting system is completely separate from the salvaging system, you know? Like, you can have whatever crafting system you're envisioning, remove salvaging, and still create a fun way to get all of the materials. So the rewards of it have nothing to do with the actual system tied in there, right? Salvaging is just like a boring way of gathering it. Because even something like literally taking time to gather, I think is more fun. Like, there's just a rock there and you have to mine it. I think that actually ends up being way more fun, because then you're going by and now you're dedicating that time to sitting and mining a specific material, because you need said material for crafting X thing. It just feels a lot better than kill everything, pick up everything, kill everything, pick up everything, salvage everything, kill everything, pick up everything. Disagree. Salvaging has good as forms of other forms of harvesting. That's fine. You can disagree. I don't think any of my opinions are the only correct ones. Or maybe I even think of it like yeah, I do. Think of it like, what you call it? Like, if the, like PoE, when you drop crafting materials. I think that could even be a way that it gets improved. Because once again, I'm not picking up every single item that drops. Instead, oh, an Exalt dropped. Awesome. A Divine dropped. Cool. Chaos dropped. Even, you know, the lower forms of it, whatever it is. To me, that most any other forms are more exciting to me than filling your entire inventory with stuff that you're just gonna salvage. All right, let's see if we can. Bam! Oh, didn't break it.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Sub privilege just dropped. Just got your Vex. There you go. It pays to be a sub. So I've heard. Legally not true. Materials and a cold die facet. Wow, what a combination. Well, there's a minion here, but where's the boss? I don't know. She's disappeared. I think what makes mining nodes or trees or whatever things more interesting to me is, one, you're specifically going after certain resources when you do so. So then again, you're still choosing to skip and move around. Two, it's not impacting items in a way where I feel like you're just flooding your inventory with items, which is just kind of annoying to me. But also, I think it removes a piece of it from having to be killing monsters, which gives you, again, kind of an pick or choose sort of thing. And this is where a lot of people disagree, and I'm totally good with it. Half the people say an ARPG is about killing monsters. A game is about fighting, whatever it is, and thus anything that's not related to fighting is bad. In a nutshell, right? I mean, obviously I'm sure they have slightly different opinions than that, but this is a general thing that I've heard, including from developers, where sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I like that so much, because I tend to disagree with that. I need to lower my map. It's way too bright. There we go. Right. They're like, the primary purpose of Diablo is to go out and kill monsters. So if players are engaging in things that isn't going out and killing monsters, like if they're spending time in town trading a bunch, or if they're doing whatever stuff, then that is not playing the game how it's supposed to be played. And that was something I always thought was silly, because I think, let people play the game in whatever ways they want to play the game. Let people explore and find different ways to play the game. For instance, yes, I've made 5 level 99s in Diablo 2. We've had rank 1, rank 2, just random ones, single player ones, modded ones, whatever. I've killed a lot of stuff. I've done a Holy Grail. I'm doing my second Holy Grail. I've done a lot of killing of monsters. But there were also seasons where all I did was trade. I just sat there and I just traded the whole season and just made myself rich from trading. And I had a blast. I barely stepped out of town. There were times where I focused on dueling and I would just build up awesome duel characters. There were times where, you know, you'd kind of like, where you're just doing LK runs or whatever things, or, you know, it's like you just get to, you do your different things. And you know, I really dislike when somebody says a player shouldn't just be sitting in town trading all the time. If they want to get meaningful loot, they need to go out and kill somebody to get it. Because it's like, let that be an option, but then let people trading said loot also be an option. Why does it have to be such a specific way? You know? The primary focus of the game is still killing monsters. Ultimately, to get those items, people have to kill monsters. But, you know, there's a lot of other ways that people can enjoy games, and I think it's important to allow that to exist and allow players to find out and create their own ways that they enjoy the game, and then encourage it in a way. Alright, do we have a dawn? Crescent moon? Ah, rising sun. So that's why I like giving more options to the players and letting the players kind of figure out and decide and all of that stuff. And this is where, again, when you create things like salvage a little bit and stuff like that, and you do stuff like remove trading from the game and whatever, you really do force the game to be so one-dimensional in how you can enjoy it. And it can fit better into your vision, but I think overall it hurts the success of a game because it hurts the creativity of players. And this is where the salvage mechanic, I think, can be pretty boring, because now all you're saying is, cool, you want to do crafting or you want to do anything with that? Kill monsters. Everything is just kill monsters. And there's no secondary way to achieve this, really. You can't even trade for it. It's just go kill monsters, pick up everything, salvage everything, use new resources. Like I said, that to me just is such a single-minded way to play the game. And require the game to be played. For show, snow. And I think trading is a way to help alleviate that in some way. For sure. But again, giving people other ways to play the game, to, you know, exist. And that's where I think, in the case of like a mining node versus salvage mechanic, a mining node at least gives someone the opportunity, and maybe both drop crafting mats, to say, hey, I'm gonna not kill a bunch of stuff, but I'm gonna focus on really going and mining a ton. Create some profit, have some fun that way. And I'm not saying every game needs to have mining either. I'm just saying, salvage to me is so one-dimensional and so boring. I really look for a better solution to gaining materials. Trading is by far and away the best way to get the best stuff. But, I mean, it comes into a lot of ways. One, sometimes. Two, you still have to be able to have trade value for whatever you're trading for. If you want Burr Rune in Diablo 2, you can either find Burr Rune, which is very hard, or you can trade for Burr Rune, which is going to cost a lot. You know, so it's like either way you're finding quote unquote a Burr Rune, you're just finding it in the form of another item and trading it for said Burr Rune. So it allows for there to be more rare drops. But then, obviously, because you can trade said rare drops, they become more ubiquitous. Right. So ultimately, you're still having to go and do something to create the value to get the Burr rune. Whether it's mining a ton, killing Ubers, trading a lot, you know, and working your way up in the value that way. Killing a bunch of mobs until you get something or some things worth Burr runes. Whatever, right? You're still having to do something to create said value. So trading is what makes the game flow, because certain gear I feel is necessary and technically you could never find that item. I mean, I have found every item in the game, so technically you could find any of those things you're looking for. Have I found a J mod? No. Do you need a J mod for the game to flow? Also no. Are there many items that you also don't really need for the game to flow? Sure. Now, if you're saying something like Enigma, sure. I also am not a huge fan of Enigma. I recognize its importance in Diablo 2. I think removing Enigma would be a bad idea, as it would just be a giant sorceress fest, even more so than it is. But yeah, I'm just gonna turn off the D2 armory. It's just not working. But I can recognize the, you know, difficulty that it brings, and that it has such a high improvement that a lot of characters are going to find it necessary, you know, for that next stage. Thus, it puts you in that point of needing to wait until you can get Enigma, and then you can get your, you know, boost up your character way more and get to the next level of farming and all that stuff. Right, so whether the solution is... I mean, again, we don't need to discuss Enigma solutions. Honestly, no offense, but a lot of y'all have terrible ideas for Enigma. Giving it, like, multi-second cooldowns every teleport and stuff. It's a bad idea for an Enigma. In Diablo 2, that doesn't work well at all. But, so many blue monarchs, my goodness. Regardless, I still recognize the damage Enigma does, and the way that I recognize the damage that Grief does as well, you know. And again, a lot of it just comes from the fact that there's just a huge gap between anything below Enigma and anything once you get Enigma. Anything below Grief and anything once you get Grief. Oh, those are almost so good. That's a huge issue, you know. If there's better scaling as you get up to those items, it wouldn't feel so bad. If Enigma was just one step above the previous item that you had in its place, it wouldn't feel so bad. True that, Schneck. Yeah, I mean, I do think that's a good point to bring as well, you know. I do like that salvaging and mining, you know, the idea that it gives you a slow, steady progression. And this is something I thought PoE did well with its currency. Even if I went out and didn't find anything amazing while I was farming, I would still find more chromatic orbs, more chaos orbs, more, you know, whatever. And so, okay, I didn't find that super GG item, but I built up my currency, which felt rewarding, which is something that you don't always get in Diablo 2. Sometimes you spend a bunch of time farming in Diablo 2 and you just get nothing. And you get no value for it either. But would I still rather have Diablo 2 without salvaging than with salvaging? 1000%. I would rather have no salvage and gain no value than have salvage be such a boring pick everything up, sell everything, or salvage everything without looking at it dump of a resource and time. And again, it just feels like a time waste in an unfun way. And that's just my opinion. You can have your own. You can say, Mr. Lamy, you're dumb. I don't agree. Cool. Hammerden's still the best build. Foden's nice, it's got its own thing. Smiter's obviously solid in some ways, but you teacher, hurry! Ah, who is this big llama?
Hello, Mr. Llama.
Hello.
I was sent here by Tyrael. He's looking for his chest armor that he seemingly has misplaced somewhere. Have you by any chance seen it?
I will find it for him. Hopefully soon. I'll keep an extra eye out though, thank you. What item is grief? It's just a weapon. I think there can be many reasons for going back to town. And this is just my own, again, I own it as my own opinion and maybe my own wrong opinion or disagreed upon opinion, whatever. But there's many reasons that I need to go back to town in a game, right? Get more potions or heal up or clear out my inventory, whatever it is. But when it's to clear out my inventory that's just full of junk, it feels way worse to me. I don't like that break, right? I think it's good to have breaks that send you back home. I'm all for that in a game. I actually kind of dislike games that never have you do a break, which is something that I don't like about having like pets. Right? I don't like having pets in a game that take everything back and keep you out on the battlefield. Because, okay, now I'm just like, here. You know? And then you never go back to town, and then you don't get that like break in the middle. I think it's actually really good to have that downtime. But going back for items that I know I won't care about and I just have to look through or not look through, whichever it is, and just salvage all and then go back out, just feels like it feels too chore-like for me. That to me is just the most chore of anything. Like, I like going back to town when I've picked up items I think might be interesting, and now I'm going to identify them and see if there is something interesting. That I do enjoy. But when I have know that it's not going to be anything interesting, really. But I just have to do it because I just have to go salvage it. There's no, like, peace, you know? Even if I'm going back for potions and healing, it's like, I could, by playing better and taking less damage, not have to do that as often and things. But for salvaging, your inventory is X slots. You go back because you have to, and there's nothing that's really changing that unless you just want to salvage less things. Pick up less things to salvage and just not get the materials as fast, which again just feels
Grail.
Right. So something that sends me back to town for choices or where skill affects it. Thank you, Slane. I feel a lot better on. Something that sends me back just to send me back and is a set thing just feels worse to me. But that's just my thoughts on it.
How do you feel about D4 being a smart loot system, and the game as a whole based on what we know so far?
I don't like smart loot. But if you're removing trading, it probably makes more sense. But it does feel very much in the way of, again, simplifying to such a casual level that you actually harm the overall game by kind of making it boring, in my opinion. I don't get to use my barbarian to farm for my sorceress. I don't get to use my, you know, any other character to farm for any of the other gear I'm looking for. Nor am I, you know, even getting cool items from playing one character that make me now want to go build another character. Right? So, to me, it's a very, just, honestly, it's a bad system. I just don't like it. One of my least favorite systems. Stackable item and pick up.
I can't.
I mean, I think that could be better, Nut. If, you know, salvaged items stacked, which again doesn't really make sense because they're supposed to be their own items that you would look at, but, you know, it's like, in that case, just make it something else, which I think is better. But if you could somehow make it salvage item stack, whatever it is, I think it would be better. And then you get, as long as you're going home for your other reason, and in that time you just push salvage or something, it's kind of like repairing.
What can I do for you?
You know, I'd feel it would be less intrusive. But Reddit said trade bad, smart loot good. Yeah, Reddit's got some crazy ideas that like every single person who plays Diablo 2 and trades just uses JSP and just spends money on JSP to then trade. And that JSP is somehow a thing that all of us are advocating for and saying is a good thing instead of saying, oh yeah, it'd be greater if Blizzard worked to, you know, remove that or created their own trade platform that was better and didn't have money involved. It's a lot of straw man argument, whatever the logical argument is. There's a bunch of them for every different kind, but they like to just pull out JSP anytime you try and talk about trading, and it's like, yeah, I don't like it either. But I still love trading in a game. And I'd rather have trading in a game that had JSP on the side than not have trading in a game, even though I don't like JSP.
Weeks with evil and corruption.
But I would rather Blizzard just create their own in-game trading platform that was better than what JSP offers. Because one, JSP is not even that great of a platform. Like, it's okay, but it's not an amazing trading platform. It's just literally all that there is. Besides, obviously, there's like tradery and stuff, which people have been using and finding to be useful. But if there was a way in-game to do it, oh my god. People would just abandon JSP. Tons of them would. Some would still use it, obviously, the legacy users. But a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, okay, I can just trade in game. Perfect. Like, and find what I need. It's great. Exclamation mark. Grail gear, maybe?
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
That's how you get an auction house? Well, you don't build it like a real money auction house. You build a real trade system, not a trash one. An auction house is not a trading platform either. That is an auction platform. Just the whole implementation of that was just poor.
Join my army of the dead.
How would you feel if Blizzard made Blizzard Gold, where you could trade currency between Hearthstone, Overwatch, etc.?
Don't give them ideas.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Not that idea, please. Maybe it's just me. But the last thing that I want when I'm playing a game is all this other game or whatever junk required, included, blah, blah, blah. I just want to play a game and that game just be about that game. Not the best way to get rich in Diablo 4 is to go play Hearthstone and grind a bunch of low games in Hearthstone and earn Hearthstone gems there that I can trade into Diablo 4 gold.
This monastery reeks
There's probably a lot more required for that, Hunter.
Join my army.
Probably just need some better gear, like Hell
Let's just
Andy
all
and
go
stuff
back to
if you
Maple
can.
Story and RuneScape.
It's true though.
I can't carry anymore.
It just reminds me of my least favorite escape room that I've done, where they kept saying, hey, follow us on Instagram to get free clues. And I was like, can't I just do the escape room? And they were like, make sure to follow us on Instagram for extra clues. No, I didn't follow. And I was probably a Debbie Downer for the rest of the escape room, but I just was so annoyed at that point. I just was like, don't build your game. And they were like, you need clues to beat this game. Because it wasn't well designed enough to not need clues. And I was like, this is the worst
This monastery
escape room.
with evil and corruption.
It's like a pay-to-win escape room. Put a bad taste in my mouth. Because, yeah, it wasn't built very well. It was built with the idea that you definitely would need clues to move forward. And you definitely were supposed to follow their Instagram to get said clues to move forward in the game. Game be good. Who gets bored when game fun? I picked this escape room because it had so many followers. No, it just, I looked up and people said the escape room was fun, you know? It had enough people saying that it was fun, but they were all wrong. There was one person, and I should have listened. Yeah, they were probably bot reviews or something. There was one person I should have listened, but I let the majority rule. One person was like, definitely overrated. Not sure why so many people said it was great. Pretty meh experience overall. And I was like, sounds honest. But maybe they just had a bad time. I tried to give benefit of the doubt. That person was right. The rooms and puzzles were not built well. And the constant calls to follow on Instagram. On ooh, nice, huh? I want to do that.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Crescent moon this time, right? Maybe. So, I mean, it's all right, you know. Wasn't a good room, but now we know where not to go. And there's another place in Dallas that has really good rooms. They do a really good job with it. And that is actually a solution I think is fine. Not jumping off of this and going back a little bit. In terms of smart loot, I think making it a toggle could be a very interesting idea. Okay, for the person who just wants to play their single character or whatever. Sarrakin's Chance. I think. Sure, that sounds great. But allowing other people... Thank you, Paladin! Appreciate that.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
True that, sheep. You know, allowing the kind of the casual player. Right. I mean, it still has plenty of issues in that it's not, I don't think it'll be as good as a dumb loot system, but I think if you're really trying to find a compromise, having smart loot be a toggle could work. Now, there is still, you know, there would still be probably more theory around it, which again isn't horrible. It could be interesting, you know. Okay, if I want to find, you know, let's say Titans, I go get on my Javazon and I farm with the smart loot filter enabled, and I'll be able to get those Titans faster than just a general spot of farming with, you know, my sorceress wherever, blah blah blah. But it also brings into question a lot of things that don't go into what smart loot is, which I think is a big question, such as what about something like griffins? What class is griffins for? And this is where I think smart loot starts to hinder design overall, because it starts to create all of these questions. All classes with lightning damage, but what if you're a class that is going to use some crazy build that could somehow get the lightning damage from griffins? Except assassin. Yeah, assassin, the griffin's lightning damage does nothing for her because it doesn't help traps. But you know what it does do for an assassin? It's the only helm that can get a dual claw assassin to 105 FCR breakpoint. There's zero other way to get to the 105 FCR breakpoint when you run dual claw and assassin. You have to run griffins. So now you're like, okay, well, so do we then make that? Does griffins only drop for a sorceress, a paladin, because obviously Fodens, things like that, a Javas or an Amazon, an assassin now? I don't think they helped that part fix traps. You know. Does this mean that for a, let's say a druid, you're gonna get all cold things, a night wings, and all of this because a druid has cold damage though? Yeah, it's for the teleporting, not for the, this is so you have Enigma and you teleport on 105. That's what the Griffins is there for. Right? It would bring in so many questions on every single item, because it's like, should a druid be allowed to find Nightwings? Well, druids don't really use Nightwings, but what if somebody wants to run some sort of crazy max or max hurricane Arctic blast druid and they're pumping up their cold damage like crazy? Then they're gonna want to use Nightwings. But should Nightwings only drop for a sorceress? Right? So you really are hindering a lot of creativity when you enable stuff like smart loot. So now you have to design your system to either be more boring, or you're doing something like every single item has to be specific to every kind of character. A wizard only wears robes, you know? Stuff like that. Everything is sorceress only, barbarian only, necro only, whatever it is, because then you can say, okay, every item that can drop for a necro drops for a necro and that's it. But now, again, you're kind of designing the whole character and class in a way that, in my opinion, ruins a lot of creativity, which is a lot of the great stuff, when people do find and come up with all sorts of different ideas for those builds. Now you could also have smart loot only affect class specific items, such as on a barbarian I can only find barb helms and I won't find any of the titans, any, you know, claws, any paladin shields, any source orbs, whatever. But then smart loot isn't really doing a lot. Right?
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
So again, and even if it's not 100% chance that, you know, you find it in one way or the other, having a decent push towards one way or the other still has a similar effect of, okay, well, I'm not really finding titans on a barbarian. Why mess with the loot in D2? Oh, I'm not saying we should put smart loot in D2. I would hate it. I'd be so mad. Make it configurable by the player to some degree. I mean, that does introduce, you know, a piece of it. It also introduces probably a part where you can really, there becomes, you know, such a strong meta of I'm only going to look for, I'm gonna mark off everything except diadems and circlets or something, you know. That would be min-maxed crazy hard, which I don't hate, but I also think is a little cheesy. But
What is the single most rare BIS item in the game? 640 its javelins? J-mod?
probably some crazy rare. Some, you know, insane diadem or something. We found them all. We somehow saved it. Perfect Tomb Raver is a unique one. A perfect Eth Tomb Raver is pretty darn rare. But I still just, even if we say, okay, the player can scale it, right? I can pick how much percent smart loot I want, 30%, 70%, whatever it is. I still have a question. I was just going to start over, Rick. I still have a question. What is smart loot? What is loot for the barbarian? Why is the barbarian not allowed to find griffins in his smart loot? What if that 25 FCR was actually really crucial for the barbarian in a specific build I was running? Should I not find that because of that? There's still so many questions that I have, and again, things that I believe take away the creativity of the player when you ever build a system to have smart loot. Or again, are there going to be all helms a barbarian uses are different from all helms a, you know, a different character, an Amazon uses? I mean, I don't even remember. In D3, how does that work? Is every single helmet that a barbarian uses different from that of what a wizard uses? Like, is every item class specific, or is there just a general pool of items that everybody uses? Yes, that is how it was. Great. I don't like it. I hope that is not how it works in Diablo 4. Thank you, James.
Join my army.
Smart loot. You would need multiple characters to complete Grail quest. Oops.
Right. MVS get fixed? I think it is, because I have the software up and running right now just to like see. I think Windows 11 just crapped the bed. It was just bad. So maybe we'll do like an hour test one day just to give it a look.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Sorry. Almost okay as well. Not give you one item 10 times and some items never. I mean, I think if game gives you one item sometimes and 10 items, or, you know, never and 10 items all the time, whatever things. That just kind of it comes with the rarity of games. It's almost like maybe a game needs to have a casual mode for the casual player, you know? Where all of the items, burns, drop like candy and stuff. And then there's the regular mode, where things have difficult drop rates. I think that solves a lot of problems. Well, D2 is, a lot of people complain, I'll never find Burrune or Jarun or anything of that nature. And I can recognize their concern while also saying that's good. It's good and bad. A lot of people won't find a Burr or Jarun in Diablo 2. That's because they're kind of chase items. There's a lot of chase items in Diablo 2 that you're never going to find. And that's kind of the beauty of Diablo 2. It makes those things so much more exciting to drop, so much more valuable. You feel so much better when you do drop something like that. It's insane. I mean, all the people who, you know, say I'll never find those things, think of the time that you did find a Griffin's, or you did find, you know, whatever it is, that awesome item. You found a Jarun, you found, you know, your Vex rune to make your Hodo, you found whatever stuff. Those are huge moments. They're super exciting. They're very fun. Right? But I can understand either A, that, you know, the piece I more get is, thank you, Zlat, the idea that some of those items are quote-unquote necessary, such as Enigma. Zlat with the T2 sub, thank you. Right? Like, Enigma is so required for a lot of classes to play the game in that next way. And everybody wants to play the game in that next way. But not everybody gets Enigma. And I can understand that being frustrating. Because again, there's no really good alternatives on the way there. There's not a good optional piece along the way. There's not a, oh, I found that more generic amulet that gives teleport charges but nothing else, blah blah blah, whatever, right? So I think the scaling of Diablo 2 in the way of getting to Enigma is such a big problem, in that you go from nothing, nothing, nothing to suddenly Enigma, and now you're, you know, crazy strong, can teleport everywhere, and your character's way better. And again, if you don't have that scaling up, I can understand why everybody who doesn't get it is like, this sucks. And then as soon as you get it, everybody who gets it is like, this is awesome. I do think you still want to have that chase. You still want to have that thing where a game doesn't get boring. You know, Diablo 3, I finished my Grail, I found every item in like a week, right? And it was like, all right, well now what? You know, it's like you don't want to just be able to get everything immediately and have it all handed to you, because then you just get bored. And that's why I think Diablo 3 lasts for 2 weeks and then it's boring again.
I forgot what D3 was like, so I just watched a random D3 stream and the whole screen was exploding. It was like an acid trip. If I kept watching any longer, I may have had a seizure. Glad to be back, lol.
That also sounds true. The colors there, they really went hard on the colors. But let's go in from rants to Shake Letter Ragnarok is also massive games in Heaven, let's say. Yes, and I do think there should be big growth, while also it not being, you know, because I mean, also think about like the growth in D2 compared to like D3. Again, D3's growth from any item was insane. I mean, you'd literally do 10 times the damage that you were doing by equipping a new boot or something. If you got like the right boots, it was silliness how much power was gained from every single item. So much so that it removed all previous things that you had found. You know. But right, it's people discount some of the upgrades and stuff in D2. You got Jeff from nice, get it. But there, even something, you know, going from a peasant's crown to a Shaco is a big upgrade, but it's also not really that big of an upgrade. You know, it has a small change, but it really isn't a giant change when you really consider the difference. But, like I said, something like Enigma is that big change. That is a huge change because now it changes how you move between everything, maps your speed of everything. That's really such a large jump. So I can understand people that say, you know, I want Jar and Burun to drop way more often. But the problem is if you give everybody Enigma and you make it drop like crazy often, all the Jaws and Burrs and all of that stuff, then you've ruined and removed a lot of chase because now Last Wish is more common, now Faith is more common, now everything becomes more common in those ways. And you really start messing with a system that is pretty well built. And the game becomes too easy, too fast. That chase goes away, and you lose that secondary piece of it. It becomes a lot more boring at that point because, again, playing the game, finding all those things is what Diablo 2 is. You know, that is the fun. What info are you looking for? There is no chase anymore. 90% of this game is just runes. I mean, runes are a big part of the chase, but there's still definitely chase. I mean, I'm literally chasing around for everything but runes right now. So, not a great example for you to use when I'm doing exactly the opposite. But, even if you're online, I still think a lot of people are chasing after the Shaco, the Death Fathom, the Griffins, the COA, the, you know, whatever piece there. You know, runes only make up for a few of the items. BK sword. You make your chest, your weapon, maybe shield or helm, but a lot of times, you know, your amulets, your rings, your boots, your gloves, your belts, your charms, all of that stuff can't be a rune word. But yes, runes are ultimately a big piece of chase. Go, baby, go. Single player map saves. Whirlwind Barb is decent to farm with. He's really not bad once you get like a grief going. Hey, drastic. Yes, I agree. The non-linear aspect of it is the issue. The difference between no Enigma and Enigma is too drastic. The difference between no Infinity and Infinity is too drastic. The difference between no Grief and Grief is too drastic. There's not a good on the way there. And that would be nice having, because again, I think that's what Diablo really does well in a majority of the items in the game, is small incremental boost. You're slowly... Oh, my ring has 17 fire res. This new ring I found has 27 fire res and 9 light res. That is a small incremental boost. And it's meaningful, and you enjoy it, and it helps you out a little bit, but it doesn't change up everything completely. Oh, I have, you know, whatever it is. Right? And anything and everything as you come along with it. I have Q Hagens, and now I found Viper Magi. That's a nice boost. I get more resistance with it. That's very helpful.
There are LY as no mid-tier melee weapon rune words. The new Barb 1 is okay, but it's 6 open sockets and only
Yeah, which
helps
is
Barb.
tough.
What do you think, Llama? Am I missing any melee rune words that can get you through before you get grief?
Nightmare into honor into oath is not a bad way to roll. Oath is generally the like mid game. Lawbringer's okay, but yeah. But yeah, just having those small different things, and then different ways, again, that you can grow, which I think is another important thing, and something that I'm going to actually use, like card games, like Magic the Gathering, for instance, right? As a great example of how I think that growth can be really nice in a variety of ways, is giving you a variety of ways to play the game and to different resources to use. For instance, in Magic the Gathering, the most general form of playing the game, the most basic form would be I use mana to cast creatures to attack with to kill. Right? But there's so many other ways to play the game. There's so many other different win conditions, and there's so many... not just you can play Commander or something, which obviously is a completely different way. But even within a game, there's different ways that the cards will utilize the game's nature or the resources, right? So you have your card supply.
Prime sub. Bring down Bezos.
Thank you, Texa. You have your just the cards that you have and your opponents have. Both of those are resources that can be utilized. You have your life total. That's a resource that can be utilized. You can sack some of your life total, gain some of your life, whatever it is, and use that in a way to manipulate and fight your opponent, right? You have all of the different spells and all of the different, instants and sorceries and whatever things and flashing things in. That can be great. You have your graveyard, which can be a big thing. You have, the ability to work in a way of countering your opponent. You have the ability to work in a way of just killing everything your opponent has, or just building your own self up and comboing hard on your side of the board. There's really a ton and a variety of ways to play. And again, many of them rely on using different resources. So you're sitting there and you're saying, I can sack some of my life for this. I'm okay using life as a resource, dropping to 10 life, whatever it is. And then I can, I can take some damage to get a combo going. Because once I get my combo out, that's going to be big. Or I'm fine losing life with my own cards that make me lose life, because that's going to be able to use that to hurt my opponent more, or whatever it is, right? I love putting stuff in my graveyard because a lot of my deck builds around getting stuff out of my graveyard. Blah, 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 blah. Do I even believe the stuff I'm spewing? Yes, please watch the language, thank you. So I'm saying, in a game, in an ARPG, whatever stuff, having the multiple resources, such as your mana pool, your life pool, your damage, your magic find, your whatever, can be great because it lets you think. And the reason somebody, you know, I'm saying this is somebody brought up how they found a 10 FCR 93 mana ring. And they're super excited for their Shout Barbarian to use that. And I think that's a great example of an item that doesn't add damage, doesn't, you know, it doesn't do a lot of things, but it hits your FCR resource and it hits your mana resource, which for a Shout Barbarian are both very important, you know, resources. And that's such a cool upgrade, and one of the reasons, you know, Diablo 2's itemization is fantastic, and just what those small upgrades can mean even in terms of it, because you're not just looking for the basic, it must have higher stat for more damage. FCR adds damage in a way, but also if you don't have much mana, then it doesn't really add damage, because then you'll run out of mana faster. It also allows you to get off your attacks faster, which when hit recovery and things like that exist in the game, it adds more than just a damage, you know? Like... And for some characters, like a Javazon that might love that ring, it just adds a little more safety and survivability so she can maybe get 1 frame faster to teleport away before she gets stunned. And also, of course, can add the mana, which mana can also be a big issue for, you know, for the Amazon, right? I mean, eventually they do nut, but when you're playing through the game on a Shout Barb, you're going to run out of mana very quickly, and you'll out-regen, or you will outpace the regen of a mana potion if your mana pool is low. So...
I had it all planned out to have my 50th anniversary during M vs S, but Evo ruined it. So we'll just have to do it during Magic Find Monday instead. Here's to another 50 llama.
Aww. Thank you. Happy 50th. Yeah, blame Evo. But also blame Bill Gates, or whoever created Windows 11. You had 10 save llamas ready for me? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I still have the helps from Infernal. Those will be saved. We'll move them in. We'll get MVS going here at some point here soon. We need to do one more test where we have like a full test for like an hour. And then we can try beyond that. The helps transfer, but the punishments don't. I don't think there were any more punishments to transfer over. I did all the punishments and I used some of the helps. There's just leftover helps. If there were any, you know, punishments still left, those would also transfer. Ah, okay, you're one of those people. Okay. I believe you're looking for a different stream on Twitch. I got you now. Maybe try out like XQC or something, I don't know. What you're looking for isn't here. That's the beauty of Twitch. There's like 10 million streamers every quarter or something. You can go find one that loves that. Loves your positive attitude and contributions to chat.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
How you doing, 3Moth? Well, I was gonna do a nice pool stream for you guys, but it's cold and it's rainy. So I guess that one just can't happen. Fireman Shank, nice. What you looking for on Shank? There's a bloody foothills right now. Gotcha. That's cool. Nice caffeine. This is single player, Babda.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
It's got rare Myrmidon Greaves. That's so fun. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, man. Oh, there's blue Myrmidon Greaves. There's something about our games that are linked up, 3Moth. Something about your game and my game that is linked up. That other clip was still the craziest thing I've ever had happen, besides the time I dropped 2 TC-87 uniques from the same monster. Does anybody have the clip of that? Where me and 3Moth had the same exact items drop at the same time, and we just happened to casually mention it to each other. God, I need that clip. %, nice. You have it on your side? Yeah, send that to me. Or post it.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Yeah, I dropped 2 TC-87 uniques, which are like the highest level uniques in the game. And it was just so wild because it's like a 1 in 30,000 chance for each one of those items to drop. And I had one monster drop both at the exact same time. One from the kill, one from the horde. Like in all our farm today, we have found 0 TC-87 uniques. And we have found a few TC-87s. The rarest being that set Colossus Blade. There's techno music. Post it, I can lower it. Conspiracy. Oh, but I want to hear you. Dang. All right, here we go. Watch this. This is me and 3Moth grailing together, just like on our own. Oops.
Wow, I just dropped a longbow right next to a long warbow. Both unique.
Oh my god. You know what just happened, Llama?
Right?
What?
While you were saying that, I killed a group of monsters and I dropped a longbow right next to a long warbow.
I don't believe.
I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding, man.
Like, I literally don't believe you. There's too much coincidence in that. Like all the other things, we could kind of pretend like we're just random. I can't pretend anymore. What? Are you serious?
Yeah,
I mean, look at this.
What?
Wow, I just dropped a longbow right next to a long warbow. Both unique.
I mean, the timing on that. Is just insane.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
And for me to even say it at that time. And right when I said it, he's like, he kills the monster, and there's the longbow and the long warbow. I mean, what's your craziest 3-moth?
Didn't know you smoked llama, but here take this to pay for a bad habit we both enjoy, Mr. Llama Cool.
Don't smoke, everybody. Don't smoke. Serious, don't. For sure. That's almost cool as well. You know what you should do, though? Also very serious. 1, drink water. Drinking water is very good. 2, go register to vote. If you still can. And go vote. It is voting time, everybody. Depending where you're at. Again, it changes every state. This is for US, but I mean in every country, you know. Get out to vote. But go vote. You should have early voting available in some states. Some states, like Texas, you can no longer register. Oh, giant thresher. I already got it. Darn. Oh, Mang songs, the feeling. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. So yeah, like in Texas, you can't vote anymore, but other places you can go and register to vote right up until the day of voting. Plus, again, you have early voting as well. And I mean, it's a very important thing to do. It's something that, let me think. The first time I voted was 2012, I want to say. I was kind of lazy for the first couple of years. I didn't go get myself set up for voting. And I get it. I know, Storm's fired. Sucks. So close. I get it. But it is a great way to exercise your freedoms, man. What do we want to shop for? Let's go for rings. Have to register to vote. Should make it easier. Well, it'd be great. Ooh, Cathin's Gamble. Ring of Fortune, 25%. I would love if everybody was just automatically registered to vote. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Much of our government tries to prevent us from voting and make it difficult. So that's why it's important to take the extra steps and go do it. It's a bad take and you're wrong. No edge boat? Yeah. Mm-hmm. 20 life, 1 to 3 mana. That's kind of fun. And I'm gonna give you a little break there, same guy. This is true, Rag. I'm already out of gold? What? Trash rings, man. What's up with you, Jeed? Give me something good, bro. Heard the plan is a ring pop for Moo Girl? That sounds nice. It's nice, Trima. I don't hate that. It's missing some stuff, but I don't hate it. Tap CR, 38 life, 9 all res, 17 light res, 1 mana per kill. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. It's enough to keep it. Definitely useful. RS 15. That got 15 MF as well. Said 10 FCR on it. Fireball endgame B tier. She's probably up to A tier now with Sunder Charms.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
I would disagree with that, Rag. If nobody voted, I don't think it would change things at all, actually. They'd be like, perfect. Now we have nobody that we have to care and listen to. How's the game dev going? It's going. There's still more to be done for sure on it, you know? A lot more to be done, but... I am enjoying... all the stuff so far.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Yeah, I think, considering how few people actually do vote, there would be way bigger change and way more going on if the voter rate doubled than if it halved. That's all I can say. Old people do vote, which is why old people decide everything in this country. Will we be able to play as a Lamazam in Llama RPG? There's 3 classes to start. Barbarian, a Warrior, Mage, and Ranger. Yeah, but you don't just have to vote in presidential elections. You can vote in all sorts of elections, all the way down. And sure, you can say, hey, at the top, it all feels the same to me. But I definitely think the lower and lower you get within all of the elections, the more you will find people that are looking to improve your state, your city, your... any of that.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Ranger like D1, yeah. Again, I'm not a giant fan of our current 2-party system. One side takes all, whatever piece of it, blah, blah, blah. But you can vote for people then who also aren't a fan of that and who say that and want to change that. And if enough of those people get votes, over time, that can change. I'm just saying, you can complain all you want about it, but if you won't participate and at least try and find the people that are willing to make it change, then you're not helping solve the problem, you know? Even if you don't believe it's going to have much effect at all, whatever it is.
Athos 197 gifted a tier 1 sub to Calamitas Derp.
Because I know, well, again, I am not a fan of many politicians. Thank you, Athos. There are still some that I look at and go, that person is trying to actually help change things. And people who want to improve their local communities and things as well, yes. But for instance, Katie Porter, United States Representative. I think she is somebody who actually wants to change the system to be a much better system. And why did you vote for your grandma? Well, one, because she's your grandma, I assume, but also because you probably thought she wanted to change something for the better in it. Again, I'm not saying many aren't full of crap. Many politicians suck. Well, then I would vote against her, right? But there are some people who are tired of the way things are, such as yourself. And instead of just saying, I won't vote, they say, I'm going to go try and get in there to change it. Thank you, Slow Racer.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
So it's a small incremental change, but your apathy towards it will not help and will only hurt. It at the very least does nothing. So you might as well try and do something. And again, like I said, if the voter turnout doubled in America, I think it would have a much larger impact than if it halved in terms of how change was then made in the future. And if you disagree with that, then you disagree with that. But I hope you can think of that.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
I like that. Look at Lakita.
I can't carry anymore. Impossible. I can't carry anymore. I am overburdened. I can't carry anymore.
So you can have a negative outlook on it if you would like. Again, I understand. But you might as well try and see it in a positive light and try and make a change. Yeah, it's like, why be a doomer when you can be a positive thinker? The fact that you blocked the quote and blocked freedom of speech. I'm just done with you, same guy. You're just annoying me. I'm sorry. Come in here shouting, blocking freedom of speech. This is a private channel. I can say and do what I want. Oh, God. You should learn more about what freedom of speech actually is, my friend. Thanks, Rang. I feel like everybody who shouts freedom of speech has no clue what it actually means. Bow down in your private space to my free speech. I know, right? Also notice how you're the only person that was blocked from everybody. Only person. Do you think your take was so polar opposite of everybody else's, or maybe you just were maybe being a little bit of a D-bag about it? And I asked you to not say things in that way, and then you continue. Thank you, Nerdius! Oh God, Rag. That's right. Why do I want to vote? Because not voting is just a worst alternative in my mind. Again, if I can try and affect change, I might as well try, even if I don't think it will. Beats not doing anything, beats apathy. And I like to, again, think that if everybody voted, things would be much different than if nobody voted. That's why. I mean, in fact, I know for a fact if twice the people voted, things would be very different. Yeah, I don't get depressed about it all, just... I didn't say get so wrapped up in it, Rag. I just said you go, you spend 5-10 minutes, you go down and you vote. You don't have to get wrapped up in it. You don't have to spend your whole life trying to get a single person in and feel depressed when they don't get in. I'm not asking you to learn everything about everything. You can still only vote for who they pick. You guys only seem to focus on presidential elections. You're really missing out on all of the local elections that exist. There are a lot of elections where the person goes and runs to be, you know, a representative for your county or whatever it is, and or voting in primaries or anything. Yeah, I would say the presidential election is the least influential in many ways to your neighborhood and how things are to you. Don't forget that. Vote for your local sheriff, right? Vote for the judge that may deny or approve your restraining. Okay, well that's not. Yep, city council, school board, sheriff, commissioner of revenue.
This monastery reeks with evil.
I don't have a warrant. I don't have a restraining order. I never have. Bad joke by chat. So yeah, I mean that's what I say. You don't need to vote the big one if you don't want. I mean, again, I encourage you to vote in every election, but there are a lot of elections where you can go vote and you can actually have a lot of influence, especially when you get to the local neighborhood ones and local county ones, whatever. Yeah, many local elections are like 708 votes to 672 votes. So you don't think one vote matters in that?
This monastery reeks.
Meow.
I can't carry anymore. I can't.
Smart arse. Hey, some people live in Idaho, Autobahn. No one lives in Idaho. Does somebody in here live in Idaho? I'm sure somebody here. lives in Idaho, right? Your brother lives in Idaho? I'm from Idaho? There you go. There's a couple people that know somebody who lives there and or were there at some point.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption. I am overburdened. I can't carry anymore.
That's 2 people. And you can bet if those 2 people vote, they probably are the swing votes of which way the election goes. Because there's only like 5 people that live there. Huge.
I can't carry anymore.
20% of the population of Idaho are fans of Mr. Llama SC. This sounds like an accurate, true fact to me. Probably down. Well, it depends which ones, though. Some of them know, yeah. True, Morgan. Oh, yeah!
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
There you go, Gazanked. Sounds like we should all move to Montana and decide the vote there. Whew. Montana is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous up there. But probably only want to be there a few months out of the year.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption. I can't carry anymore.
Eat 'em.
I am overburdened.
How many characters with full GT gear do I have? I mean, a lot in a variety of places and ways, and I don't know. Also, what counts as GG? Yeah, like, do I have to have awesome rings like this, or... Oh! Just looking at that ring again. Woo! That's pretty sexy. What happened to MVS stream? It kept crashing again. So I've brought my PC down. We did a bunch of testing. I've brought my PC down to Windows 10. And I believe it is functional now. But we need to test for like an hour or so, just as like testing.
Llama, do you run JMOD on any builds?
I don't have a JMod, no. If I did though, maybe on like a Javazon. I've only had like one a couple of times back in LOD. Never had one in D2R. Ow, you guys hurt. My elemental's on. It'd be better off making ice power, respec, and physical make faith. Yeah, either one of those would be good. Frost Maiden's actually pretty fun now. But Faith, I think, is still going to be, you know, your best bet. Demon Machine and Holy Fire. That sounds fun, actually. Thanks, WoW Freak. Made a Faith Merc turn your throw barb into a monster. Oh yeah. Faith on Mercenary for throw barb, it's huge. Did I ever end up gearing the Zon Druid for endgame? Not yet. We'll do that later. I mean, the Druid we're still leveling up. We still have part hell to do. No, I think I gotta identify and keep it. Though if I get like a DC during it, I would consider it found. If I leave it myself, I would not, but... When's part held Druid? I don't know, we can do it like tomorrow or something. Hello, Tal's Armor. And that should be... I need to actually check on that really fast. Shaver's Hammer, let's go! I found way too many of those on this character. Hell and Nightmare are definitely different beasts, though. There are a lot of builds that crush through Nightmare, and then you get to Hell, and it's like, oh, okay, never mind.
Shockwave Druid looked very good in Nightmare. You think it did better than Fisher, or is Fisher Fire Druid faster in NM?
I think Fissure is probably better up until Act 4, and then once you get to Act 4, again, the fire starts to really fall off, and Shockwave probably takes over. So I would say, if I were to run that character straight through, and it was just pick whatever I want, I would say go with Poison Vine until level 12, go with Fissure until Act 4 Nightmare, and then go with Shockwave through to the end of Hell. I think that would be a decent way to run it. But we'll also see how Shockwave kind of does later. No, it's easy on it. Otherwise, thanks, our stamp. I mean, again, I'm not even here to get very political and talk politics and all that. I don't care to do all of that. I just wish to encourage people to vote. That is all. Exercise your right to vote. Ooh, 940. Is that one-off perfect? Yeah, I mean, just today. We've just talked in that way. Is 941 a perfect house? Or is it 943? Let me see. 941 is perfect. Ugh, we just missed it. So close. Next time. Legend Spike. We already have a Ghost Flame though. I'm gonna get water, one sec. You guys behave. Okay. You missed the backboard? Have no fear. The backboard is here. Look at that. Brought that sucker just for you. The flower paintings are in my room. You dare me to? I just honestly need a big fluffy rug in here, that's all. Maybe I'll grab it from the dining room and put it here. Ever think about rerolling my pitch map? Sure, but I like this map. I'm happy with it. I'll reroll it at some point, I'm sure. Nance. I said Nance much. How's Windows 10 treating me? Better.
This monastery
What? Stu?
corruption.
Really here tonight? Oh, that sucks.
I am overburdened. I am overburdened.
Getting to sub, 20 items here has been rough for sure. Ouch. Exclamation mark Discord. There's some helpers in there for declone and potentially Ubers.
This monastery reeks with
Did I switch cameras? No, I still have the same camera. Yeah, Guardian Naga is weird. We don't have that one. Hand of Brock is one of those. It'll drop soon. But I still don't know how Guardian Naga hasn't dropped. Hand of Broccoli? I'm in. The stash is in. That everybody said stash is back. All the girls were like, ooh. Stash. I don't know. The girls. I don't know what girls. Just the girls. Just a general all-encompassing group or something. Not really, Respawn.
with
We found a near perfect Tails armor. I guess that was cool. Guess I can put a little text. Items found. 940 Taos armor. BK sword. You find anything else noteworthy? I guess giant thresher, storm spire.
I can't carry anymore. I am overburdened.
I never thought I'd be a stash guy growing up, you know. Never ever. Do I dare attempt another MVS this week? Oh, we need to do one more big test on it. We're already kind of testing today, and it's seems to be, you know, kind of working and whatever pieces. Hasn't crashed at all. But
This monastery reeks.
we need to do one like hour-long test where we're just running it hard.
I can't carry.
Not joining the police force. We're just rocking the stash. Like I said, growing up, I always thought, stash? No way. Not for me. But after, after I hit 30 there, it was like, all right. Reno 911 reboot. Oh my god.
Join my army of the dead.
It's a good
I
stash,
like the
right?
Stash. It makes you look like an attractive Mr. Bean.
Thank you. Okay, well, Mr. Bean, but
Monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
you personally don't like stashes? Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a big stash guy either. I think it comes in okay enough that it, you know, works out well. It's not a perfect stash by any means, but it's at a good enough spot. That's Strange Zero. Thank you very much, though. Oh, we do need to do one little thing. We have one more affix to add to Llama RPG. I need chat's help. Maybe. Drive. All right. Did we put accuracy? Yes. Okay, so here's all the affixes for the game. Spell procs, I think, is something to add in potentially in the future. I think that could be fun. Chance to cast. But that'll be a later on piece. But what we do need to add is sockets. And for this, we need... One, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe. And this is rares and elites. This is for rares only. And this is for just magic items? Is this how it needs to be built? 1, 2, 3, 4. No. It should be able to actually just be built 1, 2, 3, 4, right? As such... Maybe elites can get 2 as well. Sure. 1, 22, 47... 70. Yeah, 60. I guess this would be the difference if I wanted to make it higher for rares or for magics. Yeah, it's fine. We're gonna do 10, 8, 9, 8, 6 will go. 75. And this will be sock. I just need to put this in really fast. Sockets. 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4. And what can get 1 socket? We'll do boots. I guess we'll start with armor, weapons. So we should do chest armor actually. Chest armor, weapons, boots. Chest armor can go to 4. Weapons can go up to 4. That probably should depend. And boots can get 1 socket. Yeah, this is where I think actually having multiple styles wouldn't be a terrible idea. Brood, thanks. It would be in each one. Chest and weapons. I guess we can leave it at that for now. And shields. Perfect. Cool. That's a very basic implementation, but that'll work.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
I've played Diablo blindfolded before. It was awful. It'd probably be a little bit better on if I played with like controller and had somebody guide me. That would actually probably be a lot better. Also, I could just run like Poison Creeper and then he'll just kill everything. I like that. Should do that. Terrible blindfolded Act 1, but it'll be a lot better in D2R because I can also keep it within, and yeah. Trying to like click perfectly is way harder than if I had controller, so I could just kind of get near Akara and then it'll let me like talk to her and stuff. That'll be way better. I'm perfectly fine at talking to girls. Oh my god. I'm like, hey girls, what is up? How many times did you take a footstep today with your feet? I will protect you and defend you. There are taxes that are too high, and I don't like that. What are your thoughts on Ukraine? You know, just casual conversation. No, the Ukraine's a separate country.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
The answer is always Michigan. What is your favorite constellation? Mine is Uranus. I don't know. Casual conversation with the ladies. How do you think I picked up Moo Girl? That's a planet? Planets and constellations do the same thing, right? Constellation is just a mix of planets. Something like that. Look, we don't know a lot about space. There's a lot of stuff that's just unknown, so it's all theory. What happened to the counter? Oh, yeah. Good call.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Moo Girl was the constellation prize? No way. Moo Girl was top prize. She would never be a constellation prize. If Moo Girl was an alcohol, she'd be on the easiest to reach shelf at the bar because she's so easy to talk to and so caring and kind that everybody wishes they could have her. No, she's not easy. She's easy to talk to. And everybody... No, that's... You guys misheard. Gosh dang it. Not everybody gets to take a sip. Alright, we're just gonna... Clearly you guys aren't understanding the metaphor. When you go to the bar, that's where they put the finest whiskeys and things, right? So that way they can get it for you so everybody will have it. Top shelf? I thought that was just a saying. Like, why would you physically put it hard to get? That doesn't make sense. Wouldn't you want to put your most expensive stuff where it's easy to get, so then when people buy it, you can pump it out more? Alright, well, that's dumb. I don't drink. I don't go to bars. That seems silly. Well, again, I knew what top shelf meant. I just thought that was like, you know, oh, it's the top of the top. Not like you literally physically put it on the top shelf. Well, you say it's where the customers can see it on the top shelf, but I would think the customers would see things that are, you know, in their eye range. So you want to show them so they can look straight, and then they'll see the really nice, expensive stuff, and they'll be like, oh, I want that. If you put it high up and far away, then it's harder for them to see it. I don't know. Alright, well, Moo Girl goes sit her up on the top shelf then. We'll do it tomorrow, I think, Wonk. That's where we were trying to put her. Not saying that Moo Girl can be bought, because you guys can't buy Moo Girl. She's not just... Alright, never mind. I thought I had, but we found them all. Praise be. We would, but we forgot our wallets. Wow. I never had a fake ID. I did not. Why would I need a fake ID? I never went to bars or drank. Am I watching some TV series? Moo Girl and I are watching Survivor, but we're only on like season 38 or something right now. We still have a little catching up to do. And We finished a lot of other stuff. Love is Blind. We're in the middle of season 3 on that. Horrific Monster, thank you. Which is just a terrible season so far. I mean, it's great from, you know. Yeah, I think they're on season 42 or 43, something like that, of Survivor. That wasn't a joke. What's my view on nihilism? It fits
The
pretty well with
Watcher on
my
Netflix
life.
has been really good through 2 episodes thus far.
The Watcher or The Witcher? The Boys, yeah, but we're waiting for new stuff on that one. I have not, Mark. Yeah, Witcher was alright. Touch a coin to your Watcher. Alone. Okay, maybe I should watch Alone. Oh, The Watcher is a series about people who watch The Witcher. Gotcha. But yeah, Love is Blind Season 3 has been crazy. Like I said, we're in the middle waiting for the next episodes. Oh. It's just a bunch of bad relationships right now. They're not gonna get anywhere. You can already tell that none of the people are right for each other. Am I into Star Wars? Ooh, Spired Helm! Come on, baby! Veil of Steel! Veil of Steel! Yeah, she's Wild Temple. Let's go! Yeah, we've been watching House of Dragons. Come on, baby! 50-50 shot. It is either Nightwings or Veil of Steel. We already have a Nightwings. 50-50 shot at a dong, you guys. What do you think? Will we have it? Come on, let's go! Wait, where's my dong at?
Join my army of the
That better be a dong.
Dong.
It is. It's a new item. Why didn't it make the sound? Play sound when new item is found. Oh my god. Hold up. Do we gotta... I want it to dong. No, it's broken. Yeah, wait, you're right. Hold on. This'll do it. I think you're right. Okay.
I am overburdened. I can't.
I think I need one more item.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Yeah, it came off. Perfect. Now I just need to identify something. Get ready. Let's go! Ba-dong! Also, Grandmaster's Martel Defer. That's kind of fun. Look at that big ol' hefty monster. Let's go! Veil of Steel is knocked off the list. What a beaut. You love to see it. What's so good about it? We didn't have it. Otherwise, the item itself is okay. We'll go take a look at it in a second here. Let me just finish this run. I already have Nightwings, yeah, so that's why. Otherwise, I would be wanting Nightwings all day. But, alright. So, here is Veil of Steel. It has a nice defense on it. The strength requirement is really high, which is kind of an issue. Otherwise, 15 strength, 15 vita, 50 all res. A big issue is, of course, it's like, wouldn't you just prefer a Kira's or something over this? And it's like, yes. Plus, there's a lot of other just better helms. So at 192 at the 50 all res, it doesn't have lifesteal or anything, no crushing blow. It doesn't have anything to give it further. It needs one or two more stats that would really like boost it, you know, and you could give it to a mercenary or something. Still a rare item. And like I say, I think it would roll into a nice mercenary weapon or helmet if there was a little bit further on it. Like I say, crushing blow, IAS, lifesteal, something along those lines. You could say it has a little bit more value there. Regardless, it is a new Grail item. And let me go update it in our sheet. If my sheet will load. Today's a success, man. It is. Veil of Steel Grail. Why won't my sheet load? Are you guys able to load my sheet? Oh, there we go. It's like so laggy. What's happening? I can't... What? Okay, there we go. That was so weird. I couldn't like refresh the page or anything. Alright. And Veil of Steel. Perfect. Both of the Spired Helms are done. We have 23 items remaining.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Ooh.
670
Mr. Llama
MF.
SC gifted a tier 1 sub to Franklin 1007.
You're welcome. I think it's gonna be the last item. I mean, Tyrael's is most likely, but Meng Song's may sneak its way in there just to be annoying, you know? Who knows? Who knows, man? It'd be funny to do a play the game in French or Spanish or something.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
I smashed my keyboard. I do have a spare keyboard, I think, so. And we've done pits here for a bit now. But, you know, I shift in between the other characters here and there. Rune Scepter. Kind of fun. Little Zacharum's hand action. Perhaps Astrians just for a change? Maybe. I would love if it was like Hawes or something. That'd be great. Now you just go to Nightmare Mephisto. Helendario, whatever, and just farm until you get it. You vote Shadow Dancers? It will not be Shadow Dancers. I find Myrmidon Greaves so often. I'm honestly shocked I haven't found them yet. Am I doing runes too? We've already found every rune, actually. Because we've got Ja, Bur, Cham just from here. Low right there. And then I've got Sir. And I've got Zod in my stash. Vex, we found Ohms, many, you know. I really hope it's not Death Fathom. Because Death Fathom is so fun to get a cold source running with. When you want to take a break of Zerking and you want to do like a different character. So. I could see it being something dumb like Wisp though. And you know what I never find? BK rings, man. I feel like I never get BK ring at all. Which it is decently rare, but... I'm running Hodo for so long, yeah.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Found several at Trav. I mean, I did a lot of Trav running on this character. While I was trying to find the Jaw rune to make Enigma, we just ran Trav over and over and over and over. Could not find it still. What's she gonna do? Yeah, Death's Web is supposedly the same rarity as Mang Songs and Astrians, but I don't buy it. Everybody I know has found like multiple Death's Webs compared to their Mang Song and Astrians finds, it feels like. I feel like we need to look further into that generation somehow. And I always find Death's Web. But never find the other two. Though I did have 2 Astrians in my last Grail. Nap time, have a good one. Unique Sacred Armor just dropped for you. Get it. Good luck. No, it's just single player. SOJ is not actually crazy hard to find. Like it is if you're just randomly killing stuff, but if you go target farm Nightmare and Dariel, you should find one on average like one every 3 to 4 hours if you have a decent kill speed. Like, I was really unlucky in my identifies, and it was like, what, 6 hours or something? So if you're normally trying to find it, yes, it's decently rare. But if you go and target farm it, you can actually get it. Anybody should be able to find it in a day, even if it's not a perfect character. Just have to commit to that time to go get all those unique rings. Yeah, I ID'd 40 from a viewer and got 0. Then I ID'd 40 more from that viewer and got 2, I believe, the next time. So it balanced out. Maybe I got 3. I think it was 2. It's supposed to be like 1 in 31, 1 in 32 chance of Nightmare and Dariel to get SOJ. And I mean, I was dropping like, let's see, I found like 50, probably like 10 an hour. Something along those lines. Yeah, treachery, Andy's insight. I just haven't made fort yet. I'm lazy. Looking for a good base for it. I can't farm the terror zones on single player. Dimensional shard. Oof. Darn, darn, darn. Oath is a solid one. Lawbringer's okay. Thank you. What do the new unique charms do? They break immunities. Unbending will carry you through Nightmare. Yeah.
This monastery reeks with evil and corruption.
Why am I playing single player? I like it. I don't have to deal with online. I don't have to deal with all the spam bots, the servers, the lag, the disconnects, any of that stuff. It's faster and easier to do a lot of little tiny things, getting into games, out of games, changing things, buying stuff, whatever things. Plus I can change the player count whenever I want. I mean, multiplayer is fun, but single player I feel like I'm really on my own, you know? You don't have the option to trade for any of the stuff, for any of that. You have to go find it all, and that has its own fun to it. I think they could in some way, AoE. If you change difficulties, you lose your maps in single player. Dog. Well, that was my heart for a long time. I thought I'd lost everything for so long. How does my build work? I jump in and I shout. That scares away a lot of the monsters. Except the unique monster. Or I howl, I should say. And then I zerk them. Berserk. And then I use find item on the boss's body to get another item drop. 75% of the time, whatever it is. So it's a great way to get additional item drops. Still don't have Crescent Moon. I have my stuff. I wiped my computer. Fortunately, it actually did save my stuff, like it said it was going to. But apparently it puts it all in a Windows.old folder, and I did not know that. So, some stuff is definitely gone. Most of my stuff was saved, though. We probably have about 85% of the stuff still saved. Don't I have an IT degree? Well, I've never seen the Windows.old before. Now I'll always look for it, though. I went from 11 to 10. I downgraded because 11 was just seeming like it was having issues. It just kept freezing and stuff. That was the problem. Because honestly, I had my computer freeze a couple other times too when nothing was really happening. I wasn't doing MBS or anything. I was just kind of like streaming, or not even streaming. I was playing the game, something, whatever, and then my computer would just freeze up. Now, it wasn't all the time. It wasn't often that would happen. Man vs. Stream definitely was able to reproduce that issue whenever I wanted. I could make it freeze, but I was very... Peasant Crown over lore? I probably like lore more for the lightning resistance. Also, the mana per kill can be nice depending on the character. They're both good though in their own ways. It just kind of depends what character you're running.
I can't carry anymore.
Oh yeah, Windows 7 was good. Windows 10 was decent. Windows 8 was pretty trash for a long time. Eventually 8 kind of settled in and was like not horrible. But the problem was still it was built for like a mobile interface, and so it still was iffy. Like I still disliked a lot of that. But Windows 11 just... I don't understand why it like is the way that it is. Like so many things were causing laggy issues and stuff. Strange. And they're really forcing a lot of that like game improvement stuff into it. The Xbox Live Gamer Bar and all of this stuff, and it's like every time I fire a game up, I have like all these things popping up in my face, like, ooh, take a screenshot with this and do this, and it's like, God, just get out of my face. Disable all of it. Do you want to post this highlight to Twitter? What? No, get out of here. Give us all your information, please. Windows Defender and Cortana? Oh god, Cortana. Cortana is so awful, man. Leave me alone. Oh. Alright, you guys. I'm gonna call it for the day. I'm gonna do a couple things. Couple work thingies. But we'll be back tomorrow. And the sun's down somewhere. We'll be back tomorrow with Hell Shockwave Druid. Shocker. So we'll have some fun with that. GG, new Grail item today. Big. Love to see it. Mwah. Kisses to you all. Thank you guys for being here. We'll test Man vs. Stream maybe tomorrow after the Shockwave Druid for like an hour or something. Like I say, I have to do some testing on it before I can do the full thing again because I don't want to like start running it again and then keep crashing. That's just like so frustrating and you know. So have a good one, you guys. Thanks for being here.